somewhere outside. Houston, Texas Tesla just quietly spent $2.9 billion on equipment. Nobody was supposed to notice. Not on a shiny new car, not on a robot, on solar panel production equipment. In a small town called Brookshire, built to churn out 100 gigawatts of solar capacity every single year. Sit with that number for a moment, because on the surface, it should not make sense at all. The entire United States installed only 32 gigawatts of new solar in 2023. One factory on its own is being built to triple that. And according to Tesla's own Master Plan Part 3, 100 gigawatts isn't even the ceiling. The real target is 1 terawatt a year. Enough electricity to reshape how an entire economy runs if you're picturing rows of rooftop panels on suburban homes. Stop. That is not what this is about. And if you still think Tesla is trying to win the retail solar business, you are looking at the wrong picture entirely. Retail solar is a brutal, thin margin trap. Homeowners shop on price. Installers undercut each other into the ground. That is not a battlefield worth $4 billion of investment. So why would the richest man in the world pour that kind of money into a business notorious for eating capital and returning almost nothing? Here's the uncomfortable answer, the one that should make you sit up. While Silicon Valley's biggest AI companies are quietly begging utility companies for electricity they cannot get, Elon Musk decided not to ask permission. He decided to build his own sun. That single decision might be the most important thing happening in the AI industry right now, and almost nobody is talking about it. Think about what that actually means for the world you and your family live in. Every time you've heard about rolling blackouts, rising electricity bills, or utility companies struggling to keep the lights on during a heat wave, that has been the ordinary experience of a household plugged into a shared, aging public grid. Now imagine a company large enough to simply opt out of that entire system, building its own private supply of electricity that never has to compete with your home for capacity. That is not a small shift. That is a preview of a future where the biggest companies on Earth no longer answer to the same power grid the rest of us depend on, and that should give anyone watching this a reason to pay close attention. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the company everyone thinks makes cars and batteries may actually be building something far more dangerous to its competitors. A private, closed, loop power empire that no rival, no matter how much cash they have, can simply buy their way into. Let's slow down and start with why this is happening right now, in 2026, and not 5 years ago. Because the timing tells you almost everything you need to know about the real motive. Across the AI industry, there is a crisis nobody saw coming a few years back. It isn't chips, it isn't talent, it's electricity. Modern AI server racks draw up to 10 times more power than a traditional cloud computing rack. Training a frontier model, running a fleet of humanoid robots, or operating a self-driving neural network at scale requires the kind of continuous high-density power that most regional grids were never designed to deliver. Companies like Microsoft and OpenAI are reportedly exploring nuclear power, including small modular reactors, just to feed their data centers. The problem with that plan is time. Nuclear projects, even the small modular kind, typically take 10 to 15 years to permit, build, and connect. That is an eternity in an industry that measures progress in months. Tesla looked at that same bottleneck and chose a completely different weapon. Solar generation paired with grid, scale battery storage, deployable in a fraction of that time, with a marginal cost of electricity that approaches zero once the panels are built and paid for. This is the real fight nobody is covering. It isn't Tesla versus First Solar. It is solar plus storage versus nuclear SMRs, fought by two very different camps of the tech industry, and the winner may end up controlling how fast artificial intelligence is allowed to grow. Now let's talk about why Texas, specifically, and why that choice is not an accident. Texas runs its own electrical grid, operated by ERCOT, largely independent from the rest of the United States. That independence is usually framed as a risk, since Texas has suffered grid failures during extreme weather. but for a company trying to build power infrastructure, without federal interconnection delays and without competing for capacity on an overloaded national grid, that same independence becomes a massive advantage. Building inside ERCOT territory means Tesla can generate, store, and consume its own power with far fewer bureaucratic choke points than it would face almost anywhere else in the country. It is, in effect, building a private power island inside a state that already thinks like one, and for a company racing against time to keep its AI and robotics roadmap on schedule. Avoiding years of federal interconnection queues could be worth more than any tax incentive Texas has offered on paper. Let's make that 100 gigawatt number feel real, because on paper it is just a large figure. And large figures are easy to scroll past. 100 gigawatts of solar capacity is roughly enough electricity to power around 75 million American households. It is enough to run more than 100 supercomputer clusters, the size of Zeiss's Colossus system, simultaneously without triggering a single local blackout. To put the scale in another light, Tesla's existing Buffalo solar facility currently produces around 300 megawatts a year. Brookshire's target is more than 330 times larger than the factory Tesla already operates. That is not an upgrade. That is an entirely different category of ambition. So where does all of that electricity actually go? According to the pattern Tesla has laid out across its own business, it funnels directly into four pillars that would otherwise be starved by a normal municipal power grid. The first pillar is the Supercharger network. Fast charging at scale requires enormous, unpredictable bursts of electricity. Owning generation at the source means Tesla is not exposed to peak, our utility pricing, and it means the charging network can expand without waiting years for a local utility to approve a new substation. The second pillar is Megapacks storage. Solar only generates during daylight, which is a problem for anything that needs power at 2 in the morning. Tesla's answer is to funnel daytime solar surplus directly into utility. Scale Megapack batteries, converting an intermittent daytime resource into a steady 24-hour supply. This is the piece that turns solar from a nice to have into genuine infrastructure. The third pillar, and arguably the one that matters most, is AI compute. Training self, driving neural networks for full self, driving, running the Optimus humanoid robot program, empowering broader frontier AI research, all require constant, high-density electricity that a public grid, already strained by the rest of the tech industry's demands, simply may not be able to guarantee. If Tesla can supply its own AI data centers from its own generation, it removes the single biggest variable that could otherwise slow down its entire robotics and autonomy roadmap. The fourth pillar is the robotaxi fleet. Once autonomous vehicles are running around the clock rather than sitting parked most of the day, energy cost per mile becomes one of the most important numbers in the entire business. Company, generating its own electricity at near zero marginal cost, has a structural advantage that a competitor buying power at retail utility rates simply cannot match, no matter how good their self-driving software becomes. Notice what all four of these pillars have in common. None of them are consumer products in the traditional sense. None of them are things Tesla sells directly to a homeowner the way it sells a car or a rooftop panel. Every single one of them is internal infrastructure built to keep Tesla's own machines running. Its own chargers, its own robots, its own vehicles, its own AI models. That is the part that should reframe how you think about this entire project. Brookshire isn't a product line, it's plumbing. It's the invisible system that has to work perfectly in the background so that everything else Tesla has promised, from full self, driving to a fleet of humanoid robots, actually has enough electricity to function at the scale the company has promised investors and the public for years. Put those four pillars together, and Brookshire stops looking like a solar panel factory and starts looking like something closer to a private utility company, built to serve one customer, Tesla itself. If this playbook sounds familiar, it should, because Tesla has run it before and it worked. When Gigafactory Nevada was first announced, plenty of serious analysts said the battery demand to fill it simply did not exist yet. The same skepticism followed Gigafactory Shanghai. The same skepticism followed Gigafactory Texas. In every single case, Tesla built the capacity years before the market caught up. And by the time demand did arrive, competitors were still trying to secure land and permits while Tesla was already shipping product. Brookshire appears to be following the exact same script: build overwhelming capacity before the market obviously justifies it, absorb the criticism that the factory is too big, and then let time prove the bet correct. There's a pattern hiding underneath all of this, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Tesla does not wait for demand curves to prove themselves on a spreadsheet before it commits capital. It builds ahead of the curve on purpose, knowing that if the bet is wrong, the cost is enormous, and if the bet is right, the competitor who waited for certainty never catches up. That is a very specific kind of risk tolerance, the kind most publicly traded companies are far too cautious to take on. Because a board of directors answering to quarterly earnings calls rarely wants to explain why the company just built 300 times more capacity than its current business needs. Musk has consistently been willing to make that argument anyway, and so far, at Gigafactory scales, it has paid off more often than it has failed. That raises the real question worth asking: who is Tesla actually trying to beat? The easy answer is First Solar, currently one of America's largest solar manufacturers, expected to reach around 17.7 gigawatts of annual capacity by 2027. But look at the gap. Tesla's initial target at Brookshire alone is 100 gigawatts, more than 5 times First Solar's entire projected output. If the goal were simply to produce one American competitor, that scale would be wildly unnecessary. You do not build a factory 5 times larger than your nearest domestic rival just to win a regional market. The real target sits much higher up the chain. Today's global solar supply, from raw polysilicon to finished wafers, cells, and modules, is dominated overwhelmingly by manufacturers based in China, who have spent over a decade building economies of scale that Western manufacturers have struggled to match. According to reports around the Brookshire project, Tesla's ambitions reportedly extend beyond simply assembling finished panels, toward controlling more of the process itself, including silicon processing, wafer production, and cell manufacturing. If that vertical integration succeeds, Tesla would be building not just a factory, but a domestic alternative to an entire foreign manufacturing ecosystem, using the same playbook it already used to control battery cells, software, and its own charging network in the automotive business. This is worth pausing on, because it reframes everything. Tesla isn't trying to win a bigger slice of a market that already exists. It appears to be trying to build the market's replacement infrastructure before its rivals even understand what's being built. Now, a fair and necessary note: none of this has been confirmed in full by Tesla as official strategy, and the company has not laid out every detail of Brookshire's roadmap publicly, based on available infrastructure filings, industry analysis, and Tesla's own public statements around Master Plan Part 3. This is the most plausible read of what's happening. If the underlying demand for AI compute, robotics, and autonomous vehicles grows the way Tesla is betting it will over the next decade, building this capacity early becomes one of the most consequential competitive advantages in the entire tech industry. If that demand does not materialize at the scale Tesla expects, Brookshire risks becoming one of the most expensive miscalculations in the company's history. That is the size of the bet being placed here, and nobody, including Tesla, can guarantee which outcome wins. Todd. One more thing worth being clear about: nothing in this video is investment advice, and nothing here should be treated as a signal to buy or sell anything. This is an analysis of infrastructure strategy. It's not a financial recommendation. So where does that leave the rest of the industry? While companies like Microsoft and OpenAI are placing long-term bets on nuclear power that may take a decade or more to deliver a single watt, Tesla is positioning itself to have hundreds of megawatts of usable, storable, dispatchable power online years sooner. If Tesla's approach proves faster and cheaper, it could put brutal pressure on every AI company still waiting on someone else's power grid to catch up. This is the part that should worry anyone who assumes today's biggest tech names are permanently untouchable. A decade of AI leadership can evaporate quickly if a rival solves the one bottleneck everyone else is stuck behind. Picture two companies racing to train the next generation of AI models. One of them has to file permits, negotiate with a regional utility, and wait years for a new substation or transmission line before it can safely add another data center. The other one already owns the sun. It already owns the batteries. It can simply build another data center next to its own power plant and switch it on. That is not a marginal advantage. That is the kind of gap that turns into an unbridgeable lead. The same way, owning your own chip supply chain or your own battery cells turned into an unbridgeable lead in the automotive business a decade ago. Anyone dismissing this as just a solar factory is making the same mistake analysts made when they dismissed the first gigafactory as an overbuilt vanity project. And that is exactly why this fight matters more than most people realize. This is not a story about solar panels. It is a story about who controls the raw electricity that the entire next decade of artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous transportation will depend on. Whoever solves the power problem first does not just save money, they set the pace for everyone else. So here is the question worth arguing about in the comments. Some energy experts, including researchers at institutions like MT, argue that solar and battery storage is a short-term patch compared to the long-term reliability of nuclear SMRs. Meanwhile, plenty of investors in Silicon Valley are betting that Musk's speed of execution beats the theoretical superiority of nuclear power that hasn't actually been deployed at scale yet. Which side do you think wins the AI energy race, the nuclear camp or Musk's solar and storage empire? Drop your answer below, because this debate is only getting louder from here. If this kind of deep dive into what Tesla is quietly building behind the headlines is useful to you, hit subscribe, because this is only the first part of a series digging into the infrastructure race most people are completely missing. Next up, we're going inside the Optimus robot program and what it actually takes in raw compute and raw power to put 1 million humanoid robots into the world. That video builds directly on everything you just learned here. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you found this useful, a like helps this channel a lot more than you'd think. And it tells the algorithm to put this in front of more people who need to understand what's actually happening behind the headlines. If you're new here, this channel breaks down the infrastructure moves that big tech companies would rather you not think too hard about, one video at a time. So, hitting subscribe now means you won't miss the next piece of this story. I'll see you in the next one.